Hey guys, hope you guys had a good day trading today. Today was a pretty impressive day overall. So we had a pretty big green open, mostly related to the fact that Nvidia had good earnings. We got the GDP in the morning that came in actually a little lower than expected, which is slightly bullish. And then we got jobs data, which also came in lower than expected, which means essentially the economy is strong. And then we also had PCE preliminary come in very, very hot. So it's actual PCE coming in tomorrow and core PCE tomorrow will be interesting to see how the market takes that. But overall, we had a really big green open. It was about like a 0.8% green open and 0.7% green open, something like that. We held this 401.7, 402 areas very nicely. And then here there was a convincing bounce that we were going to go up, but then we just started probably one of the most impressive sell-offs I have seen in a very, very long time on SPY. So we had total today a $5.95 drop from this high a day to the low a day right here. So that was over about, let's see, it's about a 2-hour period. So, which was most impressive about this sell-off though is the fact that if you look at these candles, I mean, not so much this one, but like from here to here, there was no retracement. We pretty much would drop, have a small 20-ish, 30-ish cent pop, and then we would just drop another dollar. I mean, it was just straight on selling. But the even more crazy thing about it was the actual sell pressure, was not that bearish. Like it never really got over like 2 or 3, which is very mild. For those of you who don't really follow sell pressure, and I don't really follow it a lot anymore. I just kind of like to see what it's at as more of an interest than anything. Usually aggressive sell pressure is like -10 to -20. So this was very, very mild sell pressure. So then we had a massive recovery, and then here we are. So pretty much the day doesn't really give us a lot of direction. If we would have closed lower, that would have been a bearish engulfing candle, and that would provide downside. However, with these two massive wicks here and two bounces off the daily 100 EMA area, and now recovering back over the 200 EMA, we could expect a bounce back to 405 area, which is the daily 8 EMA. We now have four full candles below the daily 8 EMA, something that's not happened since back here in December, which is post CPI, which of course this is post CPI, so that definitely makes sense. So biggest thing here is PCE data tomorrow. We got consumer spending and inventory too. If those data come in hot, so bearish for markets, then we very well could, after having a green day here, start a push down to 390 support. However, if those numbers come in pretty good, we could actually see a retest of daily 8 EMA, and that even could lead to a breakout over 405.3 back up into the 410 area, or that could just be a top before we see our downside, so kind of like a relief bounce before we push down. So this 400.6 is a very interesting level. So if you look at this January 23rd candle, you can see this is where we came up, we rejected, and we fought here for 3 days before we finally broke out, came down, confirmed it on the 30th as support, and then we broke out. So now that we've come down here, we lost it, and now we're trying to confirm that as support again. So losing this and confirming that as resistance kind of opens this pretty much 388 to 400 sort of channel that we were trading in before. So I am not surprised if we kind of settle somewhere in this basically 390 to 405 area and just kind of enter like another $10 consolidation area leading into the next CPI, which is next month. Taking a look at futures here. So futures actually did close below the daily 200 EMA, unlike SPY, which closed over it. And here in futures, kind of the same thing. We have this really big 40-30 support area that dates back to the January bottoms. You can see all these dates that we bounced off support-wise and all the dates we rejected it here. So breaking through and rejecting that should provide some downside. The daily 8 EMA will come down tomorrow and be in this area. So really 40-40 to 40-55 is big resistance to watch. And a breakout up there, which I honestly did expect us to break out up there before we had that massive sell-off, would provide a good resistance rejection, which would provide a good downside play. However, if we start our sell-off and we can close below 39.85, which is the 100 EMA support, I would pretty much fully expect us to come down here to the 39.20 area. Taking a look at Tesla here, one of the big things to keep in mind on Tesla is after having pretty much incredible strength here, we are now seeing some weakness. However, the weakness could honestly just be considered consolidation. We pretty much have on a tighter range just 197.1 to really 209.1. You could even go all the way down and extend it to 191.8. Consolidation area that we've pretty much been trading within now since February 6th, so almost 2 weeks now. The one big level though for the last 3-4 days almost now is 197.1. We are just hard bouncing off that area and we just failed to close under it. We are now just going up, down, up, down, up, down over the daily 8 EMA, and basically until we break out hard one way or the other, we're just kind of stuck in consolidation here. This is kind of like one of those things that if the market continues down, we should finally see tech sort of in these overvalued like Nvidia and Tesla and maybe Amazon see a bigger correction. However, if the market recovers, those stocks could see continued upside. Taking a look at the VIX here. So after that massive breakout those 3 days here, 4 days really, we had a big rejection. We are holding the daily 8 EMA support here. So really until we break below that, really under 21 and close under that, there is still potential for risk on in the market or risk off in the market and fear in the market, which would lead to further downside on SPY. So we'll definitely just kind of be seeing here where we go on the VIX. For a lot of the day, it was interesting. We came down when we had that huge sell-off. We had actually gap filled and then popped up, and we were holding up in this area for quite a long time throughout that sell-off. So the end of day sell-off really did bring us back into more of a neutral VIX here. Something also interesting to note here is that we closed back here right around the Friday the 17th level here. And if you look at SPY, this is Friday the 17th, you can see we closed around 407.3 and today we're closed at 400.6. So essentially the VIX worked its way back to pretty much the same area in general. However, SPY is now 7 days lower. So very interesting to see where we go from there. So but I hope you guys had a good day trading today. Friday, tomorrow, these PCE numbers are going to be interesting. Pre-market is definitely going to be interesting at 8:30. I'll be watching those numbers closely and just kind of see where SPY closes, see if we can get some further direction on where we're going next week.